What's up everybody, P691,000 here. Today we're going to do a very unique video. It's a Monsters and Legends video, but this one comes from the Vietnam War, the Vietnam conflict. And it's very, very creepy. And these come straight from reports from soldiers who claimed to have seen this mysterious creature deep within the Vietnam jungles. And it's the glowing winged woman of Vietnam. So let's get into it. We saw what looked like wings, like a bat's, only it was gigantic compared to what a regular bat would be. After it was close enough so we could see what it was, it looked like a woman, a naked woman. She was black. Her skin was black. Her body was black. The wings were black. Everything was black. But it glowed. It glowed in the night, kind of greenish cast to it. She started going over us, and we still didn't hear anything. She was right above us. When she got over the top of our heads, she was maybe 6 or 7 feet up. We watched her go straight over the top of us, and she still didn't make any noise flapping her wings. She blotted out the moon once. That's how close she was to us, and dark. Looked like pitch black then. But we could definitely still see her because she just glowed, real bright like. And she started going past us straight towards our encampment. As we watched her, she had got about 10 feet or so away from us. We started hearing her wings flap, and it sounded, like regular wings flapping, and she just started flying off, and we watched her for quite a while. Now that is pretty creepy, and it actually comes from a story from August 1969. A man named Earl Morrison, along with several comrades, had the shock of his life. It was very, apparently, in the dead of the night when the menacing event occurred, and as the men were on guard duty, keeping a careful lookout for the Viet Cong, because you have to remember this was during the Vietnam conflict, everything was quiet and normal until around about 1:30 in the morning. That's when the atmosphere changed, and an eerie form made its presence known to the shocked men of the U.S. 1st Marine Division. Despite being somewhat reluctant to speak out publicly, Morrison eventually changed his mind, and by 1972 was comfortable about discussing the incident. Even if he wasn't comfortable with what he encountered, his story makes for an incredible read. One of those who took a great deal of interest in the story of the Flying Woman of Da Nang, this happened in Da Nang, Vietnam, was a UFO researcher named Dan Worley. His personal interview with Morrison revealed additional data such as the fact that the woman's hair was dark and straight and that her wings may have had a slight furry quality to them. As for her arms, they appeared to lack bones. The investigators, Janet and Colin Broad, said to this particular odd case in their classic 1980 book Alien Animals, quote, "Usually our reports of winged figures describe them as men, but without any indication whether features are seen which tell the witnesses definitely that it is a man. In view of we suspect that so-called bird men should strictly be termed bird people or bird persons, and that no sex attributed can honestly be made. However, the Da Nang sighting does not come into that category," so unquote. So they're basically saying that the majority of these sightings that they've witnessed or investigated, I guess, around the world have been man-like creatures, but the Da Nang sighting in Vietnam was definitely a female. So what was this thing? It's very interesting to me, and like I said, this come from soldiers that were on watch duty. you know, during the Vietnam War, and they're clearly not making this story up because they didn't want to just come out and specifically say this because they were afraid that their careers would be on the line. And once again, this comes from the U.S. First Marine Division, who were on lookout, who happened to witness this creature at 1:30 in the morning. What was this creature? Was this a gargoyle? Was this a vampire? We don't know. See, you have to remember, Vietnam is full of jungle. There are no real big cities in Vietnam, especially back in the Vietnam era, the Vietnam conflict in 1969. It was pure pitch black darkness. So these creatures that may not want to interact with us in our quote-unquote civilized world may still occur or live in places like Vietnam, places like Tibet, Bangladesh, very third world countries. So I don't know what this creature could have been. It sounds like it was two things to me. It sounds like it was either a gargoyle or a vampire. We know that the gargoyles, this does very clearly describe a gargoyle, but also we know that the myth of the vampire turning into the bat. This sounds more like a gargoyle to me, so maybe gargoyles are real. Maybe this was an actual gargoyle-like figure. She didn't want to hurt these men. She was clearly interested in them. She'd probably never seen men like these before. They were Americans in the jungles, the dark jungles of Vietnam. But I believe this is proof that gargoyles probably exist. That's my personal opinion. What do you think? What did you think about the story? And did it interest you? I've wanted to cover this one for quite some time, and I really think this was a gargoyle. But let me know what you think down below. Peace, love, I love you all, and have a great day.